Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, Hazer. We're doing SPL predictions slash talking about what happened last week in the SPL. I think I had a pretty decent week of predictions actually. And we can go have a look. I'm gonna go back to doing it in client because if I don't do it in client, I'll never remember to vote. And maybe you can use the client version as well. You can use this to get your predictions in. And the client voting system is nice, so let's use it. Let's encourage its use. We are obviously we just had our first week of the no boots. It was interesting for sure, and we're getting into week number 2 of no boots. So the meta should be evolving as we go. Let's jump into the client. We can have a look at the games which I forgot to vote for. I didn't get them all wrong. Well, I mean, I guess I did by not voting, but I would have got most of them right, okay? It's cool to see the standings alongside as well. This UI is just a bit nicer than the, I mean, I could flash it up for a second. That should show it. This UI that I normally use from the website. And this is nicer. So this is what we're going to do. Okay. So I think I did predict Leviathans over Dragons. I definitely did in the predictions for my stream, but I'm pretty sure I predicted it in my YouTube video as well, that I fancy the Leviathans to just have a little bit more of a handle on the meta than the Dragons. They did take them down 2-1. This one I definitely got wrong. I thought the Kings would come in more prepped and look better against the Bolts. I think the Kings looked pretty bad in this set. I don't think the Bolts looked that good this week either, considering they won both their sets, particularly against the Titans. A team who I would expect them to roll over, especially because the Titans are playing so badly right now, in my opinion. They do hope to take home the win 2-1. It took a lot of work. If you want to check out some analysis on that game, I did put some on my channel, my YouTube channel, of the game 1 of this set, where the Bolts flanked particularly well. Hopefully get some more of that content to come. Leviathans beat the Warriors. No shockers there. Warriors are still the same. They went killless in the first game, actually. Brother's asking me if I want to order food, which is cool. Yeah, 15 minutes, let's say. I mean, I won't need that long, but we should be good. Jade Dragons beat the Valkyries. Shock horror. Who could have seen it coming apart from absolutely everybody? And the... I'm not sure how they... I hate these standings, man. How are these standings sorted? How are the Warriors 4 wins to 10 losses? They're below the Valkyries who have 1 win. Right, whatever. And then the Scarabs got kind of crushed by the Kings. The Kings looked like a different team in this set than they did up against the Bolts. And I don't know if that's because they figured out their identity a little bit more over the weekend. They got a bit of a drafting lesson maybe on the Friday and figured out what they wanted to play. But the Kings looked fantastic in that Sunday set up against the Scarabs. Maybe it was just a difference in the Bolts maybe made the Kings look bad and the Scarabs made the Kings look good. But I don't think that was the case in my opinion. I thought the Kings looked a lot better on the Sunday in terms of their picks and in terms of the way they played the map and their drafting. I think they just looked way better. So we'll see if they can carry that forward into next week. The interesting bit starts now. We do our predictions. Let's go. Week number 12. I wish they would make that less terrible. Week 12, what does that mean? It's phase 2, week 3 we're on, right? Phase 2, week 3. But regardless, let's go. Camelot Kings versus Valhalla Valkyries. You've heard me say it before, and I will say it again. We never vote Valkyries until something changes, because they don't look close to winning right now. They actually look probably like they've got the biggest gap between them and the other teams that there has been right now. That's just the way I see it, I'm afraid. They're falling further behind. I think it's obviously got to be a terrible practice environment, and a terrible, predicament for them to be in. But it doesn't mean I have to be, I'm not gonna say they're gonna win when I don't think they're gonna win. I think they're gonna lose. Bolts versus Scarabs. I think the Bolts will win this. Bolts definitely look like the better of these two teams. I mean, Bolts taking down the Kings, Kings taking down the Scarabs. So surely that means the Bolts are better than the Scarabs if you just apply some additional logic in there. Yeah, our Friday tomorrow not looking too exciting so far, in all honesty. I don't think either of these sets will be close. We might see some cool stuff. Maybe in this second set, Bolts versus Scarabs could surprise. I think this is on LAN. Am I totally tripping balls here? Is this game on LAN? I think this game is being played on LAN, which is super cool. Yeah, it's the only one that makes sense, right? It's the only one that makes sense, other than maybe this one. But yeah, Bolts versus Scarabs, I think, is being played at the studio. So that's something. But even that, I guess, would favor the Bolts, maybe. They've got a little bit more LAN experience for regular season stuff. But yeah, Jake hasn't played a lot of LAN. In fact, has he played any LAN? I'm not sure that he has. So yeah, going to be interesting to see if that has any change on the meta at all. I mean, we just saw, I don't know how many of you all will follow Counter-Strike esports, but we just saw the first LAN Counter-Strike event in a while, and it had a big difference on a lot of the players and the way that they performed individually, apart from Simple, who's still just an incredible, insane monster and always is. But there was a big difference there to how the players handled playing on LAN. I think in Smite you'd see the difference being a lot less pronounced, just because the game changes less based on small changes in ping, and everybody being on slightly higher ping has a less of a difference in the way the game is played than it does in CS. But I wonder if we'll see any differences as teams start to move towards LAN, if we'll see any teams playing better or worse or different, or more mistakes or less mistakes. It's something to keep an eye on for sure. Maybe we'll try and if there's some decent games in this set, maybe we can do a little bit of a showcase on it and see if LAN has changed the meta at all. Next up, Jade Dragons versus Oni Warriors. Warriors still until Neil gets to Atlanta, which I believe is not far away now. I believe it's August, and we're on the 22nd of July. So yeah, I think he's going. I think that was the case. I hope. Yeah. Again, I said this in the last video, and everybody quoted me on it. I like that. It was quite funny. Good job, YouTube commenters. But don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure Neil is moving next month to the US to play with the boys. I mean, you still got 2 players on the Warriors on high ping, so not problem solved quite yet, but it might be a good step in the right direction. I think having Neil on good ping would help them a lot. I think having Neil in the house with Vote and Nika would help them a lot as well. So I'm hopeful that they can see some positive changes out of that. Leviathans versus Titans. I'm going Leviathans. By the way, I think 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. Should probably say score results as well. Leviathans versus Titans. I think this will be a 2-0. Titans, honestly, they almost performed against the Bulls. They were shockingly close to winning this game, but they still had so many clear flaws. I mean, I don't want... It's not pleasant to call out individual players, but Aurora had a really bad set there, and I think Scary still isn't performing at the level that maybe you'd like him to be. Benji's doing great. Cyclone and Paul have their moments. They're pretty solid for the team, but it's still just that core unable to get things happening between Paul, Aurora, and Scary. It's difficult to get things to happen, and they're just not really doing enough for their team, in my opinion, up to this point. So we'll see if they can turn that one around. I still don't think they're quite there yet. I've got Leviathans beating them 2-0, and then I've got them beating the Valks 2-0. I just I said it to death, and I have to say it again. I just don't see the Valks winning right now. They look disheartened. They don't look like they're comfortable when they're playing. They don't look like they believe they can win, to me. I know that's cliche as anything. But yeah, they look pretty disheartened to me. I'm hopeful that they can get themselves over there, maybe for phase 3. I don't know what the situation with visa stuff is as far as I'm concerned. Nothing has changed. Travel ban is due to be lifted, right? But there's still an X month queue of people who've been waiting to get their visas approved. So the problem still exists. It's not like when the travel ban is lifted, the players automatically get to travel. They still need to get these appointments at embassies, which they still cannot get, as far as I'm concerned. I know there was talk about Raffers being in 2022. So still struggling. Maybe some of them will be able to get them sorted sooner rather than later. Maybe we'll even get like half of the Valks moving out. I don't know. we shall see in the future. Okay, Jade Dragons versus Olympus Bolts. Bolts coming off a good week. Jade Dragons coming off a week where they went 1-1, right? They beat the Valks, but they lost to the Leviathans. Who takes this one? Yeah, I don't know. I think this is going to be a good set to watch. The Bolts tried to give the Dragons a run for their money in the playoffs and ended up getting fairly smashed down. Are they coming into it in a better spot? I think they probably are. Yeah, I think the new changes to a meta suit the Bolts more than they do the Dragons. I think the Bolts strike me as definitely a scrim team. A team who are going to be working hard in practice, and I think they talk about the game together a lot, and they're pretty it's not that the Dragons aren't that, but I think they're a team that I think would adjust less quickly to meta changes. I know they took a little bit of a break after the playoffs and stuff like that, so they're less grinding for this new phase. I'm sure that they will be focusing on peaking at the right time, which they definitely did in phase 1, and I think there's a lot to be said about that. I think I'm sure I heard about this in regards to, I think it was Dota. It was either Dota or League, and teams are less focused on the regular season now and more focused on making sure that when they hit the point where it's really important to win, they're ramped up and they're eager and they're willing to, double, triple block scrims and think and breathe and eat and drink the game for, your 14-hour day for however long it takes for you to be. Maybe it's just a weekend or a week rather going into a playoff tournament. Maybe it's a 2-week period over Worlds or whatever. But I think there's a lot to be said for that, not overworking yourself during the regular season and coming in hot at the right time. But I'm kind of off on a tangent here. Who do I have winning this? I have I've gone home. I've gone home for 5 out of 6 games. Does that mean I go for the parent or do I go for the away team here? I don't know. I know that I think in some American sports it's different. You have the away team on the left and the home team on the right. Is that basketball? I think basketball is like that. But in my experience, left team home, right team away. I'm going to say that the Olympus Bolts take it 2-1. I have pending friend requests. How exciting. Okay, cool. That's it. That's my predictions. I hope that was... I don't have my Hayvering logo. I'll bring my Hayvering logo up. I hope I didn't haver too much. It was interesting. Interesting sets coming up later on in the week. I think our earlier on ones. I'm not too excited about Kings versus Valks. Maybe Bolts versus Scarabs because it's on LAN could be a fun one. Dragons versus Warriors again. It's the ping diff and the team diff. Leviathans versus Titans. That could be exciting. We'll see where the Titans are at. I mean, I like watching the Titans right now because I feel like every week I'm expecting them to turn a corner. And they haven't. They haven't turned a corner. Benji turned a personal corner after like 2 weeks of phase 1. He had like 2 bad weeks and then he was like, okay, yeah, no, I'm back to being incredible. And I feel like Cyclone has peaks and troughs a lot. Paul had 1 bad week of playing Zonkui as well, but other than that, he's been pretty solid. But yeah, I'm just expecting Scary and Aurora to turn a corner at some point, and I'm excited to see the Titans when they do, because they do have that top team potential. And Jade Dragons versus Olympus Bolts to close out the week is our set of the week. No doubt that is the one that we'll all be turning up for on Sunday, the 25th of July. Scheduled for 3 p.m. ET, but it obviously depends how long the Titans Valks set goes. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure and get your predictions in the client to get those sweet viewer points or something. Yeah, 1,500 points per correct prediction. X2 with pass, regardless of weekly cap. How exciting. It's nice info there. It's well written. And somebody is accelerating outside my flat. So I'm going to end this video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.